Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another online event by Warsaw Institute. My name is Tom Kijewski. I'm your host today. Good morning to our guests in US. Good afternoon in our guests in Europe and other parts of the world. And I would like to welcome Ahmad Farid Danesh Akrami, our special guest. Hello, Ahmad.
Hello, good afternoon.
It's great to have you here. Ahmad is a political security analyst. He is also very well known in the region of Kraków, where he lives. He's an analyst, and he was a journalist before. He spent many years in Afghanistan. Of course, he comes from Afghanistan, and we hope to hear, let's say, your assessment on the situation right now, which is right now going on in Afghanistan. I think it will be beneficial for our viewers to hear from your perspective what is going on exactly, and what are the perspectives for the future. So today,
Actually,
yes.
sorry.
Yes,
Sorry.
please.
Carry on, please.
No. Ahmed, today's topic is an unwinnable war. Taliban Afghanistan, as assessed by you as a policy analyst, former journalist. And first, I would like to ask you. You are an Afghan living in Poland, right, in Krakow. Since when you have been in Poland, and why did you decide to emigrate?
Yeah, thank you very much, and a very good afternoon for all audience and guests. Actually, I come to Krakow to study. I never was thinking that I will come to Poland and I will stay here. And even my plan was to return back to Afghanistan in December. But unfortunately, as we see, the situation change a lot. And now it is very complicated for me to return. But definitely I would love to go back. I just did 2 master degrees in Poland.
It's great to hear that. Afghanistan is an important strategic point in the region, and what is Afghanistan? Why is this situation of Afghanistan so unique in the geopolitical perspective? Why Afghanistan matters, in your opinion, to this extent that many, let's say, superpowers have been competing for gaining control in the territory of your country?
Yes, first of all, it have many factors that we are talking about why Afghanistan is important. At least if we see it now in Afghanistan, like in the east part of Afghanistan, we have China. In the north part of Afghanistan, we have Russia. In the south part of Afghanistan, we have India and Pakistan. And in the west part of Afghanistan, we have Iran. So all these countries, they are playing a key role in the international level. So this is why Afghanistan location is very, very important. But why it is important for longer term, if we see, like, according to the sources and basic analysis, it says that Afghanistan have around $3 trillion natural sources. So this is definitely a very important issue for all the region, not just Afghanistan. Like, Chinese wanted to take copper from Afghanistan, but it didn't work. So this is another issue. And if we see for a long term, after 1887, our last empire, Abdali Empire in Afghanistan, Afghanistan never had a strong national state. Like, when you do not have a strong national state in a country like Afghanistan, it's very dangerous, because there are more powers, and instability will help the situation to be worse. Like, there is no rule of law, and also the regional players, they want to use the national forces, the national groups for their own benefit. So all these issues are very important for the importance of Afghanistan. And another last important issue is that Afghanistan is 2 times bigger than Poland in case of area. So it is 650,000 square kilometers. And 1/4 part of Afghanistan is mountain. And if we see the story of guerrilla forces and this type of wars, the natural geography is very important. They use a natural geography for their benefit. So the mountains, high, huge mountains, rock mountains with big caves, it's very great place for guerrilla wars. So there is many factors that why Afghanistan is important and why others have interest to enter to Afghanistan, or at least to be involved there in the politics.
Yes, thank you very much for the presented information. Much has been said about the actions of the Afghan armed forces in the fight against Taliban. Why do you think it is so? Why the situation unfolds in this way, that the Afghan government has been unable to cope effectively with the Taliban, let's say, influences, despite the support of forces such as America. What are your thoughts on this?
In my opinion, Afghanistan didn't collapse militarily. Like, Afghanistan military was able to fight for long term. We had around 370,000 police and army. So we had around 45,000 commando forces. So definitely Afghanistan didn't collapse militarily. And in most part of Afghanistan, if you see, the army didn't fight with Taliban. They just gave the areas to the Taliban and left. So Afghanistan collapsed politically. And this starts from the first negotiations between United States and Taliban in Qatar office. And that was a strategic mistake for the NATO forces and America especially to do negotiation with a terroristic group. And that helped Taliban and the regional supporter of Taliban to make a space and to promote Taliban as a forces, like very strong forces, and they change, they are now better, they are, I don't know, they respect the people's rights and this and that. And that was more a political collapse. There is another issue which is very important. According to sources, there are intelligent companies which were involved in this collapse, which we do not have a lot of information today, but I hope one day to listen about this more, how it happened and how much America and NATO were involved in this, in my opinion.
That's very interesting. Thank you. We were observing American planes, American evacuation forces on board leaving Kabul. What do you think should happen now in the relations between Taliban government and Western countries? What are the perspectives in your opinion? It's a difficult situation, of course.
Yeah, Taliban is a terroristic group. And this group is not, it's not one group actually, if you see. Like, inside of the Taliban, we have other groups. Like, we have Hafiz Saeed group, we have Haqqani group, which they are more close to the ISIS than the Taliban. But at the same time, we have type of Talibans, which they are locals, they want some type of peace and stability. So trust to Taliban is very, very dangerous, in my opinion. Because in the past, we saw that Taliban, they give place for Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan, and they have very deep connection, ideological connection with the all Islamist and radical groups around the globe. So in my opinion, the West and the international community, they should not recognize Taliban. Yeah, they should definitely have relation because of the humanitarian helps, hates, that's different. But political relation with Taliban, in my opinion, it's very dangerous for the future of the world.
Thank you very much. Sharia law is to be generally applicable law in Afghanistan right now. What impact will the new government have on the civilization, on the civils and society in Afghanistan? What will change?
But if we see that the Taliban had relation with United States of America for longer time, long time ago, before they attacked to Afghanistan in 2001, American intelligence, they had contacts with Taliban and they had close contacts with Pakistan. There is no doubt that Taliban have some type of contacts with Iran, Russia, China, Pakistan, very close contacts. And these contacts, it starts from 2008 to 2013 mostly, and they developed this relationship. But Taliban, they are an ideological group, and they will not respect anyone when it comes to their ideology. So definitely the Taliban will not listen China, Russia, anyone for Sharia law, because it's ideology. It's not just a politic. The Taliban structure is a bit different than what the other governments are. So, like, we cannot expect that the Chinese influence can change the behavior of Taliban. There is no chance for that. And I don't believe to that. And even if it happened, Taliban, like the political leadership of the Taliban and the forces of the Taliban, they are different. Like, even the political leadership of the Taliban, most of the time they are afraid if they make an agreement that the local force will not support them. So this is a big issue for Taliban itself, internally. So I don't believe that they will change their behavior because of the influence of China or Russia or anyone else.
Thank you. You mentioned already the China connection, and that was my next question. So you don't believe that China will have different kind of influence or approach to dealing with Taliban's in this context of Sharia law?
No, in my opinion, China have two interests, because inside of Taliban we have Arab fighters, Russian fighters, Chinese fighters from Xinjiang, and mostly Pakistani and Arab fighters. So China will definitely afraid of them, that they will develop, or they will help the other Muslims in Xinjiang, and it will be danger for the Chinese security. So China, the first Chinese interest is this, in my opinion, and the second, China wanted to develop the trade. So they need more space, and they want to connect the China with Central Asia, and also Afghanistan have a very important location, because if you see Afghanistan location, we have border with East Asia, we have border with West Asia, it means Middle East, we have border with Central Asia and South Asia. So definitely this could be a great corridor for the Chinese business. And Chinese had a plan in the past, which they negotiated with the Afghanistan government, to make a corridor from Wuhan, which is the east part of Afghanistan in the border with China, to make a corridor with South Asia. So definitely, in my opinion, Chinese have security interest and they have business interest with Taliban.
Yes, I think it will be very important to follow the situation, because right now it seems that a lot of different scenarios might develop before our eyes. In the course of evacuation from the airport in Kabul, an attack took place. We all know, terrorist attack claimed by Islamic State. Which has not been heard of for quite a long time. Can the current situation in the country allow Islamic State fighters to revive their activities or strengthen their organization, in your opinion?
When we are talking about ISIS in Afghanistan, which is called Khorasan, province of ISIS. It's a bit different than the ISIS in Syria and Iraq. The ISIS in Afghanistan, for the first time, they come to exist in 2015. And mostly the ISIS, it is combination of some other radical group in the region, like Hafiz Saeed group, Afghani group, and Pakistani Taliban, and Central Asian fighters, which they are mostly inside of the Taliban, and the radical groups mostly they join the ISIS. In my opinion, I follow the situation of ISIS for a long time, from the first leader of them in Afghanistan, which was Hafiz Saeed itself, to the last one, which is Al-Muhajir now. So the ISIS, it is not, they do not have the same concept like ISIS in Iraq and Syria had. In my opinion, this is more intelligent group. They are mostly the fighters from Orakzai Agency in Fatah region of Pakistan. So definitely, in my opinion, this is a type of intelligent group which the Pakistan have huge influence on them. And when they didn't want an attack in Kabul or Afghanistan in the last at least 8 years, when they didn't want an attack that Taliban should accept, they were just saying that ISIS did it and ISIS was accepting that attacks. And that was very strategical attack. So when we see their work in the region and in Afghanistan especially, I believe that this ISIS is an intelligent proxy fighters in the region, and this is a bit different than the ISIS in Syria and Iraq. And definitely, your main question was if they start to fight after this, or if they had anything in the field. Yes, because in my opinion, the region, especially Pakistan intelligence, they had a plan to collapse the government of Afghanistan. Now it is turned for a civil war in Afghanistan. So a civil war will not happen without the ISIS in Afghanistan in the new scenario, in my opinion.
So could you elaborate a little bit the last point? You believe that there is a likelihood of civil war in Afghanistan right now?
Of course, because if we see the evidence in the field, Afghanistan government collapsed, but the structure of Taliban have problem. Right now, we heard some reports that the Taliban groups, which is mostly Mullah Baradar group and Afghani group, they have problem with each other for the making the new government. Like they have problem who should take the defense ministry, interior ministry, and there is a huge influence of ISI, the Pakistan intelligence, which they wanted to take most important positions in the Taliban system, because they will continue to have this influence. And there are some groups which is inside of the Taliban and they are against Pakistan. So definitely there is a high chance of a civil war. And if we know that the resistance force also, they are fighting in Panjshir for the last 1 week. And in other part of Afghanistan, I have reports that there are local commanders which they are preparing for a new war. So definitely there should be some new players, and mostly the North Alliance, which they will definitely fight with Taliban. And ISIS is another group which, if the North Alliance make a type of peace agreement with Taliban, they will push the idea of ISIS to fight with Taliban, and there will be a civil war.
That could be very, let's say, even the worst scenario than now, I think, for the people of Afghanistan, as we were observing the horrors of the civil war in Syria since 2011. Let's hope for the best solution for all. Other important player I'd like to ask you about, you mentioned Pakistan policy towards Afghanistan a bit, but I would like to ask you also about other players in the region, important players except Pakistan. which is Iran and Turkey, and how they can see the, let's say, American withdrawal from the Afghanistan. Can countries like Iran and Turkey strengthen their own forces and their own influence in the region? Do you think there are other countries that may be satisfied with the current situation in related to national security of Afghanistan?
Definitely. Every country have their own benefit and national interest in case of Afghanistan. Like if we see, but there is one common aim they had for a long time. Like most of our neighbors, they want America to lose the war in Afghanistan, and they were supporting Taliban politically and even militarily. We have reports about, and there are evidence about. So there are different countries, they have different interests. Like in case of Iran and Turkey, Turkey do not have a direct interest in Afghanistan. They are mostly they involve in the Afghanistan case to just show that they are a key player in the region and in the world. So they will not have anything serious, in my opinion. They will try to keep their relationship good with Taliban, but I don't see any serious interest of Turkey, at least inside of Afghanistan. But Iran, they have a security interest, because we know that Iran have around 890 kilometer border with Afghanistan in the west part. So definitely this will be a very big issue for Iran. Iran till now, Iran wanted that Americans should lose the war in Afghanistan and NATO. There is no doubt about that, and they are happy about this. But Iran ideology and Taliban ideology is a bit different. In the past, we saw that 25 years ago, the Taliban and Iran relationship was not quite good. And for now, at least, Iran managed to have some type of contact with Taliban. They were supporting Taliban in the west part of Afghanistan, especially in Helmand, in Herat, Farah, Ghor, and Badghis provinces. And I believe that Iran will try their best to just keep this much relationship, and they also managed to save their own forces. Like there are some Shia forces in Afghanistan. Around 15% of Afghanistan population is Shia. So Iran will have interest to keep them safe and to just make type of relationship between the Shia forces or the Shia group with the Taliban. And I do not see more interest for Iran, at least. But definitely I know one point, that Russia have the same type of problem, because Russia, there is a lot of Central Asian fighters, Chechenian fighters in the Taliban, inside of the Taliban. So they are afraid that if this group want to make new groups in Central Asia, this will be a problem for the national security of Russia. So in my opinion, these countries, they just will keep this relationship to the level that they have now, and they will not develop it more, because it will not be good for them. Because soon the Taliban will change their mind, and in my opinion, soon the Taliban will start to think slowly. If we can defeat America in the Afghanistan, so there is no problem to occupy maybe Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. So they are easy targets. So, and also there are some groups inside of the Taliban which they have this type of interest. So definitely, in my opinion, in the near future, there will be some problem between their relationship. But it's connected with the Taliban political leadership, that how they keep this distance between the commanders of Taliban and also the regional interest of the countries.
Thank you very much, Ahmad. So, in your opinion, there is a risk that Taliban can spread its influence all across the region and maybe even to more distant countries, just like we were observing the tries of this kind made by the Islamic State, ISIS, in the past, right?
there is one important point. I am not saying that the Taliban will start to attack the others, but the Taliban, they manage the land and the place and all the necessary things for the other groups. Like in the past, we saw that ISIS, the Al-Qaeda was in Afghanistan, and all the time they are in Afghanistan. So the Al-Qaeda fighters, Afghanistan is a peaceful place for them, and Afghanistan is a very, very easy place to live. Like no one will do anything with them. So it will be the same for all the other Islamist group. Like we have TTP, which is like mostly the Pakistani Taliban. We have Central Asian Taliban. Like there is a group which is called Tahir Yuldash and some other commanders of Taliban, which is quite big commanders from Uzbekistan, and some fighters from Tajikistan, from China. So definitely these fighters will try, even if they do not, if they couldn't manage to make a type of deal with Taliban. Okay, let's attack together to Pakistan, to Central Asia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, or some other places. But they will manage to help other groups inside of these countries to grow. And also there is no doubt that international terrorism, which is mostly ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and other groups like this, they will develop in Afghanistan, and the Taliban will help them. There is no doubt about this.
Yes, it's. Thank you very much, Ahmad. And now I would like to maybe move a little bit from this political analysis of the situation towards humanitarian situation. I know that you have experience in humanitarian projects. The current let's say, crisis in Afghanistan has had devastating effect on humanitarian situation. All observers expect a constant migration going on that has, it seems that it has already begun. What will have the greatest impact of the residents' willingness to flee the country right now? Do you think, what are the perspectives for related to the migrants and situations with migrations from Afghanistan, in your opinion?
Yeah, this is a very important issue. There is no doubt that there will be a humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan soon. And if we see the experience of last 20 years, the Afghanistan government was not able to collect the national sources, so there was a deficit of $2 billion. And the international community, mostly America, European Union, India, Japan, and some other countries, they were helping Afghanistan government to just cover this deficit, and at least to give the expense of the government and also the development projects. But from the time that the Taliban take over Afghanistan, all around 700 development projects stopped, and a lot of countries stopped their aids for Afghanistan. So definitely there will be a huge problem. Soon the Afghanistan economy will collapse, because I do not believe that the Taliban have enough source to give the government spends. And also humanitarian support, it is a big problem for Afghanistan. If you see, like from 2001 to 2008, the Afghanistan people, they stopped to immigrate outside. Then we have around 5 million immigration. They just returned back to the Afghanistan from 2008 to 2015. But from 2016, the Afghan immigration start again. So in my opinion, a big number of Afghans, in my opinion, around between 3 to 7 million will want to immigrate, definitely. And that will create a huge pressure on the regional countries, on our neighbors, and also even for Europe, because we know that one of the best destination for Afghanistan immigrant is Europe. So definitely they will find a way to come to Europe, and we will have around between 5 to 7 million immigrants, in my opinion, in the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's a significant, of course, number. Huge, in fact. Thank you very much, Ahmed. And at the concluding our meeting, I would like to ask you about some personal, let's say, views. Why have you decided to come to Poland? What was the let's say cause, and how do you like it here?
Oh, actually, uh, I didn't want to come to Poland. There was not a plan like that. In 2014, I was working in current affairs department of one TV in Afghanistan, which was one of the best TVs. And then we had election, 2014 election. So uh, I was very busy with election, and we were very tired. So I was thinking, okay, I come to Poland for 1 week, and I spent good time in Poland. Then I go back to my country. Actually, I come to Poland for 1 or 2 weeks for holiday. Then when I arrived to Poland, some of my friends, they start to offer me that, oh, why you do not want to study in Poland? And I start to think, okay, that's a great opportunity. Let's do a master degree. And then I start studying, and I stay in Poland. But definitely I like Polish music. I like Polish language and Polish history. I know a lot about Polish history, and I know a lot about experiences which Poland have. So I like to study more, and I'm quite happy in Kraków. I just feel like local here now. So I don't feel that I'm a stranger when I'm walking in the streets. Like it is like a bit different, because mostly in Poland it's not that easy for an Afghan origin person to feel this way. But in my case, that's a bit different. I don't know why, but I just make quite good contacts in Poland. So in my opinion, I'm happy in Poland. And I
Yes.
like Poland very much, actually. I have interest in Polish cuisine, music, and I love some of the music, especially the music from Wodecki, Krajewski, uh, Pandrowski. I like his composers, classical music. So definitely I have good contact with Polish society and Poland.
Wonderful. Poland has always been very tolerant country. Different cultures were able to exist here. So sometimes, the image there is of Poland sometimes presented worldwide is not accurate, and we have been very let's say, a great kingdom and country, including all the cultures and living together, working towards the prosperity of this country. Do you think that Polish and Afghans have some similar, let's say, habits, or just are they similar in a way?
That is interesting question, actually. I wanted to write an article about this, because there are lots of similarities between Afghanistan and Poland. Both countries, they suffer a lot, at least in the temporary history. And we know that in Polish history, after Jan III Sobieski, the Poland never had such a great army to defend the country, and Poland was not in the map for around 120 years. And Poland experienced a lot of bad times, and the same Afghanistan. But also, in my opinion, there is a lot of similarity in mentality. Uh, Polish, they just think they are very strong fighters, the same Afghanistan people think. And also, uh, there are quite a lot of similarities. Like, we have a lot of political mistakes, which it is the same, exactly the same mistakes between Afghanistan and Poland. And there are more. And if I say there are more, definitely, but definitely the societies are different, because Afghanistan is more a multicultural society. It is 35 ethnicities, but Poland is like majority of Poles. Definitely, they have other groups, but majority of Poles. So it's a homogeneous society. But we have a lot to share, and there is a lot of interesting things. Like, in the Polish history, we have some figures that they keep the Polish history to be alive. Like if we see at least after First World War, we have Piłsudski from 1913, even that he was starting to fight in the east borders. Then we have some bigger figures like Bartoszewski, or we have like Jan Paul II. All these figures, they help the history of Poland to be a kind of known for outside. And we have like scholars in Poland, they help this a lot. So there is a lot in similar, I think, and I think that I should give time and I should write a quite good article about this, because it's quite interesting for me.
Yeah, it would be great to read it. The lot of probably information is not very well known, and Poland has a lot of connections with different countries, different cultures, and as you said, the histories can be somehow compared to each other. So Afghanistan was really affected by wars, conflicts, and even internal divisions, and Poland has a history of really great military accomplishments, but also tragedies, right? So definitely it's something we should remember, trying to understand each other and cooperate. So thank you very much, Ahmed. Our time is running out. Would you like to say something at the end?
Yes, just one last thing I want to say before. Just you mentioned about the image which other European countries sometimes they try to make from Poland, like a country anti-immigrant, anti-Muslims, anti-this, anti-that. But I just want to say that every country have, like in every society, we have black sheeps. Like it is not different. Even in America, in France, in England, in Germany, in Afghanistan, and all over the world, in India, which is called like center of democracy, we have some group of people which they are against others. They are quite loud, but this is not the case, in my opinion, all the time. Every country have their own experience, like social experience, long-term experience. So definitely some countries, they're a bit more sensitive with some issues. And Poland, they have very, very tough experience, if we see at least in the last 20 years, 150, 200 years. So we cannot blame anyone for that. In my opinion, I like Poland and they're quite nice with me. I never feel anything wrong with that, but definitely there are some bad people in every society, but I'm not afraid of that, so that's not a problem for me at all.
Yes, I mean you're right. The legal immigration is completely different than illegal one, and of course it should be differentiated. Do you think you might come back to Afghanistan one day?
Of course, I will never stay outside. I study, all my experience and all what I did, and I received experience during of this time. I just did it to serve my nation and to help my country. I know that now we are officially, we do not have a country anymore because it's in the hand of terrorist group, but definitely we are not done here. So I have hope, and I think that soon Afghanistan will change, and I would love to go back and serve my nation.
Yes, thank you very much, Ahmed. I think you know that we should also remember this, that of course some diversity is important. However, the just moving migration, like mass migrations, is not the solution. Just to encourage everyone to leave one country and come to another, because this is something, you know. I believe that we should try to do our best in the place we were born, and this should be a general, let's say, rule. And of course, there are political refugees and other people who wanted to migrate for economical reasons. But I believe we should just try to improve the place where we are, right now and try to cooperate with everyone in the constructive way. So thank you very much.
There is one comment about immigration. There is no doubt they have right to move anywhere they want. It is a civil right, and according to United Nations conventions, we have this right. But there is something like every country try to help. Like even if we see the Polish experience, Polish immigrants were in Iran and some other European Western countries, so they were helping all the time. In the time of crisis, there are some humanitarian responsibility for all of us to support, but definitely that should be in a way that we should not break the law and we should care about who is entering to our border. I definitely understand this point of view of Polish government and Polish people and any society which they ask for these type of things. But immigrating and going anywhere in the world, it's a civil right, and it's right of anyone who want to move. Even if your country is in peace and you don't feel safe there or you don't feel comfortable there, you can move. This is United Nations conventions. So, but definitely it should not break the law of other countries, which is illegal immigrant. They don't break the law because later we have a process of legalization, and this is according to the United Nations conventions. But still, we should not at least break the law like criminally or human trafficking, these type of things. It's problem. And thank you very much. Sorry that I just add a long comment.
No, it's you are perfectly right. I agree with this, and of course, every country has to respect their regulations and require for people traveling to be let's say okay with the current regulations and laws, which is not respected, unfortunately, as we were observing, and the migrants' situation of people who wanted to emigrate is used instrumentally in many in hostile ways in Europe, as we are seeing the border crisis on the borders of Poland, Estonia, and etc. So it's sad that it's used. People's lives are used instrumentally in a kind of hybrid war operations, which this is clear, I think, for many experts right now, and just let's hope this will be solved in a peaceful way. Thank you very much, Ahmad, for your time and for being with us. All the best in Poland. Welcome here. I thought you are a long-time resident already. All the best to you, and I would like to thank very much our viewers, dear internet viewers, and ladies and gentlemen. Please follow us. Check our webpage. We are presenting special reports, many interesting, original information on our social media as well. So stay with us. And on this occasion, I would like to say thank you and let you know that I will be leaving the Warsaw Institute soon. It was a great time here and almost 1 year, and I'm coming back to other assignments, moving to another place professionally. But I'm very grateful to all the team of Warsaw Institute and you, our viewers, for supporting us, and all the supporters of the think tank, that you stay with us, and please follow us, and if you believe in this important mission we have. So thank you very much again, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Have a nice time.
Thank you, Ahmad.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.